Hey, welcome back to chemistry class, and today we're going to continue working with stoichiometry, mass to mass. Okay, this time we're on our worksheet number 5 and problem number 2. So let's go ahead and change this to number 2. So here's our question itself. Using the following word equation, lead-4 sulfate combines with lithium nitrate to produce lead-4 nitrate and lithium sulfate. And then again, it looks like they're just going to switch partners. Okay, so the real question for the stoichiometry purposes is how many grams of lithium nitrate will be needed if 250 grams of lithium sulfate is used, assuming that you have an adequate amount of lead-4 sulfate to do the reaction. So we're going to go ahead and do the word equation, change it to a skeleton equation using the formulas. So we have to do the nomenclature. So we're going to start off by looking at this one right here. We have lead sulfate. It's lead-4 sulfate. That means it's a type 2 because there's a Roman numeral. So the charge of the lead is going to be +4. Now sulfate is SO4. Okay, and if we looked at our polyatomic ion sheet, we'd notice that it is a -2. So we're going to crisscross because they don't cancel each other out, and we're going to reduce at the same time. So what that means is that if I reduce this to a 2, this to a 1, I'm going to need 2 sulfates for every 1 lead. So let's go down here, and we're going to put that in there. We have PB, okay, and then we need 2 sulfates. So we have to put parentheses, SO4 in parentheses, and then we need 2 of those. So lead-2 sulfate, or excuse me, lead-4 sulfate. So again, the reason that we can do this is a +4. This is a -2 times 2. It's going to be a -4 total. And I only have 1 lead, so that's cancel each other out. So that's going to react or combine with lithium nitrate. Lithium is a +1. Okay. The reason we know that, it's in column 1 of the periodic table. And with it being in column 1 of the periodic table, then we know that it has 1 valence electron, which it leaves and goes from neutral to a +1. Our nitrate, if we looked at our polyatomic ion sheet, we'd find out that it's NO3, but it's a -1. So we're going to go ahead and put it over there. That's a -1. So that means I only need 1 of each one. So we're going to add that to there. So it's going to combine with that. So our lithium is Li, and our nitrate was NO3. Now that's going to produce or create or yield, okay, lead-4 nitrate. Now again, lead-4 nitrate, lead was a, if we talk about that, lead was a +4. Nitrate was a -1. So that means they do not cancel each other out. So we're going to crisscross. That means I need 4 nitrates for every 1 lead. So we're going to put in here, I have 1 lead, so I'm going to put PB. And then we have 4 nitrates. So there's my 4 nitrates. Okay. Now to that, we're going to have lithium sulfate. Now lithium, again, from the other one is going, from one up above or at the end here, is a +1. But our sulfate from up here is a -2. So that's a -2. They don't cancel each other out, so that means we need to crisscross. So I need 2 lithiums for every 1 sulfate. So I'm going to come back here. Oops. I need 2 lithiums, so Li2 for every 1 sulfate, SO4. And I look at them, I have SO4, SO4, NO3, NO3. Let's double check one thing. Let's go back and make sure that that's correct. We have sulfate and nitrate. So we go to our packet, we go to our very last page, and we can see that we have sulfate right here, SO4, a -2. Nitrate is right here, NO3, a -1. So if we go back to our problem, we'll notice that we have NO3 and SO4, so we're good with that. So what are we going to do next? Well, we have to figure out our molar ratio. So our molar ratio is actually all the coefficients. So that means that what do we need to do? We need to balance. So if I have a polyatomic ion, we're going to keep it on each side, if I have it on each side. So I do with sulfate and nitrate. So I have those on each side. So we're going to keep those together. So we're going to have lead, Pb, and I'm going to drop that down. And after that, we're going to put SO4. And then we're going to go ahead and put our lithium. And then our nitrate. So we're going to go ahead and add these right over here to the other side. Okay, so we have our lead. We have our sulfate. We have our lithium. And we have our nitrate. Okay, so now we have to go ahead and balance it. So how many do we have on each side? And that's what we got to start off with. So I have one lead on this side. And I have one lead on this side. Now sulfate, I have two sulfates. Again, what are we looking for? We're looking for the subscripts that are down here. Okay, so we're looking there, we have two sulfates. So we have two there. On this side, no parentheses. So we only have one sulfate. I go to my lithium. Let's get rid of that. That should be right there. I have no subscript, so that means I only have one lithium. Okay, on this side, lithium over here, I have subscript of 2, so that means I have 2 lithiums on this side. So I have a nitrate right here, only one of them because there's no there. So we're going to go ahead and put our 1 in there. We have 1 of them. And on this side, we have nitrate, but we have 4 of them. So we have 4. So we can change our nitrates, change our other stuff, but let's go ahead and start off by looking at our lithium. So, but that's not going to work either. If I put a 2 here, that means that it's not going to do that. So let's go ahead and start off with our nitrate, the one that we have right here. So in order to make this one a 4, I can only adjust the coefficients. I cannot adjust the subscript. So we're going to put a 4. 4 times our 1 nitrate equals 4. So now I have 4 nitrates on this side. So now my nitrates are good. So we'll get rid of this one. Let's pull that back up. Did that wrong. There we go. Pull that back up there. So my nitrate's good, but I did affect my lithiums. So now I have how many lithiums? Well, if I look at it, I have 4 lithiums. So what does that mean? I have to put 4 lithiums on this side. So I have 2. So what times 2 equals 4? So I put another 2 over here. And that means I have 4 lithiums on that side, which is good. But how many sulfates do I have now? Now I have 2 times my 1. So I have 2 sulfates. Get rid of this one. Now I look at it, everything looks balanced now. Let's double check it. I know I have ones, everything down here is balanced. Let's do it up here. I have 1 lead here and I have 1 lead there. I have 2 sulfates here and I have sulfate 2 times over there. So that's good. I have 4 lithiums right here and I have 4 lithiums right there. Now I have nitrate. I have 4 times my 1 nitrate there is 4, and then I have 4 nitrates over here. So there we go, we're balanced. So let's go ahead and write the molar ratio. It's going to be 1 to 4 to 1 to 2. Now again, just because there's no number right here or right there doesn't mean that it's 0, because we can't have 0 because we wouldn't have that. So there has to be at least one of them. Okay, so we're going to basically make that bold and change the color nice and bright. And now we're going to do our stoichiometry. Our stoichiometry says that we need to start stoichiometry by using the number in the equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with that number. That number, if I go to the equation itself, is 250 grams of lithium sulfate. So where's lithium sulfate? That's right here. So if I tab over there, I know that I'm starting off with 250 grams of lithium sulfate. What am I looking for? This is how many grams of lithium nitrate will be needed. So here's lithium nitrate. Okay, so there we're looking at how many grams are needed, okay, of lithium nitrate. Okay, so we're looking for this. We have this, so we have to go backwards with that, which is really easy to do. So we're going to start off with our 250 grams of lithium sulfate. So Li2SO4. Okay. We're going to multiply by that, and if we go to our stoichiometry map says that we have to put moles on top. Okay, so we're put moles on top and our molar mass on bottom in grams. So we're going to put moles on top. 1 mole of lithium 2 sulfate equals the molar mass of 1 mole of this. So 1 mole equals the weight of those together. So we're going to pull in our calculator, and we have lithium, and lithium is 7, but we have that 2 times. We have our sulfur, which is 32. We're going to add 32 to that. Then we're going to add 4 oxygen. Well, 2 is 32, so 4 is 64. So we're going to add 64, and we're going to end up with 110. And that's what we should be putting on the bottom. So we have 110 grams of lithium sulfate. Li2SO4. Okay, let's double check that. Okay, like we always double check that. So lithium, if I go back to my periodic table, lithium is 7, which is good. Okay, then we have 32 for our sulfate and 16 for our oxygen. So it looks good to where we're at. So let's do the math again. So we had lithium was 7 plus our 32 for our sulfur plus our 64 for our oxygen, and that's total for that. So again, once we get back over here, we're going to multiply this, and now we're going to use our molar ratio. So if I go back to my stoichiometry map, and again, I always want you to take a look at that stoichiometry map because it helps you out. So here we're going to do coefficient A, so whatever I have on top here goes on bottom, and that's going to be moles. So if we go back to this, we have moles of lithium sulfate on there, so we're on the bottom. So we're going to put the same thing on the top here, or on the bottom. So whatever I have on the top, I put on the bottom, but I have to use my molar ratio. So lithium sulfate is right here. So I need to have 2 moles of lithium sulfate. And that's going to equal, what are we looking for, which is going to be 4 moles of lithium nitrate. Let's go make sure that's what we're looking for. So how many grams of lithium nitrate are going to be needed? So we're going to put down here 4 moles of lithium nitrate. Okay. So once I have that, now I got to go back, and I could look at my mole map. I got to go moles on bottom, molar mass on top to get back to my grams. So we're going to put our multiplication sign again, and we're going to put grams of lithium nitrate And we're going to put that's going to be equal to, remember, 1 mole of lithium nitrate. So we have to calculate out what is the molar mass. So again, what is the molar mass of 1 mole of lithium nitrate? Because again, these are equal to each other, so we have to do that. So let's go ahead and calculate that out. We have 1 lithium, right? 1 lithium, we always got to double check. That's going to be 7. Plus our nitrogen, which is 14. Plus our 3 oxygens, which are 16 apiece. So I can go 16 plus 16 plus 16. Or I could have just added 48, and that should equal 69. So now I have it, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to underline each one of these because that's what we should be doing as we go along, but that's good. And I know that that's going to equal. When I get done, it should be equal to grams of lithium nitrate. That means that one right there. So I have to get rid of the rest of them. So we're going to get rid of grams of lithium sulfate because I have it on top and I have it on bottom. And again, remember, we have to have it on top and bottom. This is a good way to double check to make sure that you have it on top and bottom, because if you don't have it on top and bottom, you did something wrong. Okay? Don't just automatically get rid of it. Make sure you're double checking. Moles of lithium nitrate on top, moles of lithium nitrate on bottom. So that's good. So I'm left with grams of lithium nitrate. So now all I have to do is the math, and the math says I'm going to multiply by the top, divide by the bottom. So we're going to take 250 divided by 110. We're going to multiply it by 4, divide by 2, then we're going to multiply by 69. So let's go ahead and start off. So we have 250, and we're going to divide that by 110. We're going to multiply by 4, and then divide by 2, and then we're going to multiply by 69. Hit our equals. I have 313.63. Repeating, 316.63. Let's say did I do it? It's 13, isn't it? Yes, it is. So 313, again, 0.63, repeating. But how many significant figures do we need? So let's go back to the original problem. I have 2, plus I have the 2 zeros. Now I just got to determine whether or not the zeros are significant. Trailing zeros are significant according to the rules in the packet if there's a decimal in the number, and there is. So that means I need to have 4. Okay, so I need to have 4. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to put our line right there. The 3 says we drop that off, so we're going to go ahead and drop that off. And there's our final answer. We're going to highlight it, okay, with a nice bright color so we can see it. Oops, not that. So let's go back to that and change that, but we're going to highlight that to a nice bright color. There we go. That's our final answer. And so far everything looks good. And again, if you have questions, you need to ask during class to make sure that you can help out. So there is question number 2 of practice sheet number 5. Hey, as always, go Mohawks. Nelson out.